appreciate you allowing us to present this application on behalf of the Mays family. I have many members of the Mays family here with me today. This property has been in their family for almost 200 years, and it's very important to them for a number of reasons. My name is Jim Trotter. My office address is 3527 Walton Way here in Augusta. What we've got here is a proposal for a Class A apartment complex. This apartment complex, if approved, is going to generate rents in the range of $915 for a one-bedroom to $1,200 for a three-bedroom. We've got sample elevations here as well. That show proposed construction. We've got nice brick and stone facades. We have Class A apartments similar to the Brigham Woods apartment that was built recently on Boy Scout Road. The site plan shows in the front, along closest to Augusta West Parkway, 6 three-story buildings, and in the back on the area that's currently zoned agricultural, 3 two-story buildings. And you can see the back 4 or 5 acres really only have 2 buildings. Those are the buildings that are closest to the Hill Creek neighborhood. You can also see on this top right picture, the current zoning and the current setbacks that are required are 30 feet. We're proposing a 120-foot setback from the property line to the building, 4 times the required setback. We're also proposing that all the existing vegetation that covers up this property from the Hill Creek neighborhood remain, and that additional vegetation and screens be added to further shield these apartments, especially these in the back, from the neighborhood. You can see that the clubhouse and an amenity area is up on the front closest to Augusta West Parkway. The developer for this project is a company out of Atlanta called 2 Capital Partners. Collectively, they've completed over $2 billion of real estate development. They financed and developed over 2,000 units of apartments throughout the Southeast. It is a $24 million project. They are ready to go. Right now, the property generates about $13,000 or $14,000 in property taxes each year. Once completed, it'll generate between $250,000 and $300,000 of property taxes each and every year. Rooms full of objectives from the Hill Creek and surrounding neighborhoods. We've talked with them before. We had several meetings with them. Before I got involved, the developer and the property owner had meetings with them. After I got involved, I asked to have another meeting with them, and we did so. They have 2 main objections. Their objection number 1 is traffic. They say the traffic's bad in the area already, and they're right. Traffic is bad. But the current zoning for professional offices will allow for the development of 13 offices at 15,000 square feet each. We've got a full traffic study. This is just a letter summarizing it. Full traffic study showing that current zoning will generate between 2,100 and 7,000 average daily trips. This proposed zoning will generate, according to the traffic engineers, an average of 1,700 average daily trips. The traffic impact will go down with this zoning from the current zoning. This is not, I haven't made these numbers up. These are from the Tool traffic engineers who have worked diligently on this project. They're worried about crime. We've heard complaints about crime. Since apartments, the crime stats show that in the last 9 years, you don't see any significant increases in crime. There was a bump in 04 and 05 here, and spend their tax dollars here in these apartments. And the legal standard for approval or denial is not how many people are against it. The legal standard for approval or denial is whether or not it bears a substantial relation to the public health, safety, and morality, and we don't believe a denial would do that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, you know what? I'm going to defer, and I don't know if the commissioner of the district has something to say in reference to it. I prefer to, I'll wait until I hear.
Okay, and I'd like to, if we have somebody representing the objector's side, I'd give equal time, 5 minutes. Do we have somebody from the neighborhood association that, is there a designated spokesman? Or I see about 3 hands that are designated spokesmen. So.
Waving feverishly.
Okay. So is everybody mainly in agreement this is the designated spokesperson?
Yes.
What is her?
Okay.
I represent Nevis, which is also involved in this.
Oh, so it's two.
They have the road through our project.
Okay. Well, I still, to give equal time to either side, so if you could state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am, and keep it to 5 minutes as well.
I'll do my best. My name is Rosalind Floyd. I live at 2503 Larchmont Court in the Hill Creek subdivision. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today. I am proud to serve as a spokesperson for the property owners and residents of Hill Creek, the meadows at Hill Creek, and the professional offices at Hill Creek. We are here today to voice our opposition to the rezoning of the Mays property located at 1213 Augusta West Parkway for the construction of apartments. The homeowners and property owners in Hill Creek are opposed to the proposed apartments adjacent to our property for several reasons. Number one, the apartments would have a severe impact on the character and quality of our neighborhood. Apartments pose a threat to the safety and peace of the Hill Creek community. We believe that this zoning change directly contradicts existing zoning plans for this property. Number two, the traffic congestion that already exists will be made far worse with the addition of 252 apartments on Augusta West Parkway, contrary to the opinion of the traffic study paid for by the applicant. Depending on resident occupancy per unit, at least 252 to 400 vehicles will be coming and going all times of the day and night from the apartments alone. This will only add to the existing traffic congestion on Augusta West Parkway. The addition of another entrance with so many cars entering from an apartment complex will cause total gridlock in that small stretch of Augusta West Parkway. Number three, McDonald's is located, or is locating, on the corner of Augusta West Parkway, which will add more cars to the already congested traffic on both Augusta West Parkway and Wheeler Road. There are currently 8 driveway cuts on Augusta West Parkway, including the Rite Aid Pharmacy, Joanne's Day Spa, Hill Creek Subdivision, the Professional Complex, Augusta Dental Associates, and the professional offices on the opposite side of Augusta West Parkway. As it stands now, it's almost impossible to make a left turn onto Augusta West Parkway. This doesn't even include the entrances to Regions Bank, nor the offices located on the opposite end of Augusta West Parkway. We know that the property will be developed commercially at some point, but we believe that by keeping the current zoning as it is, it will eliminate the influx of unmanageable traffic from an apartment complex and would be the highest and best use of the property. Also, the area within a 2-mile radius of Hill Creek is saturated with apartments, which are not at 100% capacity, and some of them started as luxury apartments. Devaluation of our property. Apartments, by their transient nature, would devalue our property. Apartments change the very nature of an area, and there's no comparing the transient occupants of apartments to the stable homeowners of Hill Creek. No one would even want to buy or live in Hill Creek with loud, noisy apartments next door. Many residents have already said that they will move if the apartments are built, and we depend on you, our county commissioners, to protect our property values. Number 6, the noise factor that accompanies apartments would disrupt any enjoyment Hill Creek homeowners would have in their yards or homes. The 2- and 3-story apartments would tower over all development in the area and personally would look directly into my backyard. I have enjoyed my privacy there for almost 20 years now, and I really wouldn't like to give that up. On a more personal note, my husband, Hernan Floyd, knew that he would not be with me for the rest of my life. Before his passing in 2004, he did everything he could to make sure that I could live in a safe and financially stable environment, and I am sure that there are other stories like mine. For those of you, on behalf of those of us who love Hill Creek, its community, and its amenities, we're asking that you vote no to the rezoning of the Mays property. Thank you.
But it's butting up to a neighborhood full of retirees who work their entire lives to retire in a peaceful, tranquil area. And this is an area where, when my father passed away, I moved my mother into Hill Creek at 2805 Musgrove Drive back in 1993 because of its peaceful nature. And when you come in, and I could go either way on this, and I told a friend of mine that was working on this in planning and zoning, I'll support whatever planning and zoning does. And Mr. Mayor, they have opposed this project, and I gotta believe that our staff and our planning and zoning has done their due diligence to protect the taxpayers of Augusta. And I think, and also in protecting the taxpayers, they're protecting the property values of the Hill Creek owners. And so I'm going to make a motion to approve the denial of this petition.
Second.
Sir. Do we have any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, commissioners will now vote by the usual sign of voting.
It's unanimous to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission to deny petition by American Works on behalf of Bruce and Catherine Hitt requesting a special exception to establish a family personal care home on property known as 1412 Big Oak Drive.
Okay, sir, to be fair and equal, if you could keep it to 5 minutes, please.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, if you open the packet, if you pull out the fact sheet, it's the one that's behind the letter to the mayor. And so we're here today because the residents of Big Oak subdivision are here to protest the granting by way of special exception the approval of a personal family care home at 4112 Big Oak Drive. Big Oak is a community of only 20 residents. It was established in approximately 1980 by Mr. Thomas Bradford. It's on about 20 plus acres. It's a quiet residence, culturally and economically diverse community. It's on a cul-de-sac. Now, sir, I already stated the situation, so if you go to that second sheet of that fact sheet, this is what will happen to us, and this is what it means to Big Oak. First thing, we have a restrictive covenants that says that no portion of Big Oak shall be used for commercial purposes and shall be solely residential. The owner of the property, Mr. Hitt, lives at 4109 Big Oak, and he owns the property directly across the street. By the covenants, and the property being protected under the covenants which runs with the land, he cannot give permission to anyone to run a business out of 4112. Continue right along, sir. We would then be faced with unruly tenants, persons that were screaming, lashing out, possibly even violent because of their disabilities or the lack of abilities and skills to cope with their environment. We would have an increased wear and tear on our roads. We are on a cul-de-sac. A high noise level from the additional traffic of a staff that would have to work around the clock to service these particular personnel. Increased presence of emergency vehicles. Moving on, sir. It would also increase the parking. We also, within our covenants, have a restriction on parking on the roadways. This property cannot have the parking expanded because it has a septic tank system that will prevent such expansion. Also, increased health risks from pathogens such as things like adult diapers, disposable bedding, medical products that will be placed on the curb for trash pickup. Inability to enjoy our neighborhood due to the presence of unknown persons, tenants, workers moving in and out. Our children wouldn't be able to ride their bikes or play in the neighborhood without some type of increased supervision. Loss of community due to being forced to endure the existence of such activity. Once these activities are established, they can be changed to fit the needs of the owner, operator, and they can be made into things such as halfway houses, prison work release, drug rehab, or etc. This will hinder the future potential buyers from deciding to buy a home in Big Oak subdivision, and it will result in a decrease in our property values. So we don't want this. What we're asking for here is that the residents of Big Oak, that the Augusta Planning Commission has already voted this particular issue down. We're asking the commissioners to do the same and deny the special request.
That motion carries 9-1 with Mr. Brigham voting no.
AnibalShow.com